Hey, my name is Jesse Dollemore. I'm the host of the podcast I Doubt It with Dollemore. Recently, I've been given a lot of thought to where all the empathy has drained in our country. With all the proud proclamations about the United States being a Christian nation, there sure doesn't seem to be a lot of Christ-like goodwill to go around. For followers of a dude who spoke so passionately about the treatment of the impoverished, Christians see they sure are keen on other folks' personal responsibility and pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. While sitting around a dinner table recently, a fiery conversation was entered into about race, police brutality, and where we currently find ourselves. Our society seems teetering on a precarious perch, which we've been forced onto, where it relates to a possible second leg of a sorely needed civil rights movement. This conversation started civilly enough. The early positions were stated and defended, points and counterpoints were delivered, and at some point in the conversation, though, the tone shifted. It started as a talk about big problems, macro problems, societal problems that affect us all. What began civilly devolved into an awkward and entitled blame game, from the other side. With all the compassion and empathy of a Parisian executioner manning a warm guillotine, a middle-class worldview came into focus that stood in stark contrast to what the Jesus, who I had learned about in Sunday school, had reportedly taught. Indelicate phrases and descriptions about how black youth dress were hastily delivered. Words like gang members, thugs, and welfare moms were bandied with an ease that only comes from well-rehearsed and expertly practiced tongues. These non-black Christians with whom I found myself speaking clearly felt they had a stranglehold on the situation of the problem, their words, with black culture in America today. Look, I'm far from an expert on matters of race. I'm clearly white. Being reared white in overwhelmingly white communities has left me with a sort of incomplete understanding. I've been rendered racially disabled in many, many ways. As a result of my whiteness and my white experiences, it creates problems. I assume it's a lot like being colorblind, and no pun intended. Some don't see red or green well. They must take the word of those who do and trust their descriptions to be true and accurate. Because of this blaring handicap of mine, I try my best to default to a position of making a stab at empathy and understanding rather than bitterness. It seemed, that my hesitance to jump headlong into judgment of the baggy-panted young black population, well, it was met with not only resistance, but contempt, and to be honest, metered anger. This seemed antithetical to how I feel Christians should think, feel, and behave. After all, I used to be a Christian. I am confident that the words and attitudes they expressed wouldn't have been so freely had we been joined by a black person. I have even more certainty that their unsympathetic tune would have been whistled in a far different key had their Jesus been sitting there with us. Listen, in the face of overwhelming statistical evidence related to the effects of poverty on the family and the horrible ramifications that cycles of poverty have on many generations of families, these Christians dug into their already fortified fighting positions. They continued to lay down their seemingly rehearsed, judgmental, and woefully out-of-touch admonitions about personal responsibility. The problem with these attitudes is that they do nothing to address the issues that continue to face our current collective culture. Let's take some time to look at some facts. Recent data from Pew Research revealed that the average net worth of whites in this country is $142,000, while blacks' net worth only totals a meager $11,000. In this country, in America, whites' average net worth is 13 times higher than that of their black countrymen. This scarily stark contrast isn't just a black problem. As I see it, it's an us problem. What is wrong with us that we aren't addressing the root causes of such a terrible disparity? There is zero efficacy found in our present course. What must change in our paradigm to make social adjustments that will make positive changes for these Americans? In my estimation, the answer is simply empathy. For those Christians, what did Jesus say about the poor? In Mark, he ordered a follower to sell everything he owned, give the money proceeds from the sale to the poor, and then to follow him. Mark 10:21 through 22. Jesus looked at him and loved him. One thing you lack, he said, go sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. At this, the man's face fell. He went away sad because he had great wealth. Listen, Jesus didn't seem to be a guy to me who was worried about amassing wealth or even breaking even. The bottom line wasn't his problem. It was important to sell everything and give it all to the poor, and then, after you've done that, follow him. What do you suppose Jesus meant when he said the following? Matthew 25:34 through 36. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, come that you are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you for the foundation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you gave me clothing. I was sick and you took care of me. I was in prison and you visited me. I suppose we are to believe what he meant to say was, hey, those hungry welfare moms and their welfare babies, they should pull themselves up by their freeloading bootstraps, right? Yeah, I don't think so. I find it hard to believe that this guy in the Bible, who Christians claim to worship, meant anything other than what he reportedly said. For you Christians that are more of a Paul type of Christian than a Jesus type of Christian, though, why don't you try the following on for size? Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. Listen, before I finish here, I hope this doesn't come across as preachy, because I only mean to spark a tiny flame of thought within you about this matter. Please don't take these words as antagonistic. I truly, truly only want to start a conversation that can be moved forward with earnestness. Together, we can make slow change on big problems. Thanks a lot. Listen, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, and also click subscribe on the YouTube channel. I'd appreciate it a lot.